Okay, looks like it's working. Test. Hello? Hello? Just getting used to using OBS and streaming and all that fun stuff. Not really one of my main hobbies. Just mess around and see what we can see how this works. I have not actually tried this before. So this is something that we implemented just recently. Oh yeah, okay. We have black and white mode. Okay, cool. It's not quite as stark as I expected. It's got that nice kind of like fuzzy old CRT. That old kind of CRT look to it. Which, this is actually pretty cool. I guess you can make the game even harder for yourself because you can't tell what kind of coffees you have, which is pretty funny. Just want to see if one of the achievements that I haven't tested, since I clear my achievements on this game several times in order to test to make sure that in order to test them, so I've wiped them so many times that they are... There we go. Yeah, it worked. Cool. So the most important thing is to remember the basics of CQC. Close quack combat. The IK on that is a little goofy. Well, okay. The Living Dead mode appears to be working. Oh, one thing that's pretty useful to know about the loading times is that they are directly related to your... Oh, okay, it turned off. Okay, it turned back off. Okay, well, we'll figure out what's going on with that later. I don't especially want that on in hard mode because despite the fact that I'm the one who placed all of the I'm the one who placed all the stuff in hard mode, I don't remember everything because there are 10 levels and I've modified things over time, so I can't remember if I'm remembering stuff from a previous iteration or a current iteration, so... Okay, it looks like everything's working. It would be nice to have my mic a little bit louder, though. I don't tend to project super loud, but I'm kind of capping out my mic currently. Maybe. Is this better? Okay, that seems a little better at least. I'll just have to trust that OBS is actually feeding through and everything's going smoothly, but we will switch over to hard mode because this is a hard mode run. I did one yesterday, but it did not record the VOD, so one of the key things to hard mode is you gotta choose the Iron Duck costume. It says silver, but I mean, if he had a glowing eye, he would be a Terminator, and that's very key to the play style you have to have. So we just need to get into that mindset of being an unstoppable Terminator with an enhanced metal endoskeleton. I'll try to comment on some of the stuff that yesterday I talked about, like level development and some of the stuff in the game, but you know, that stream is lost to the ages. So one thing about jumping, which is not exactly obvious, but it's useful to know, is that jumps work kind of like Castlevania. So your forward momentum transfers over to your jump. So if I just jump and try to move, you like inch forward, but if you're moving, your jump will carry you further. So that also ties into some of the key tech in this, in doing a hard run, because if you're accelerating, right, like this, you can jump really far, and once you're in the air, you don't decelerate if you stop boosting, if you stop your dash. So you can dash to get the acceleration and then fling yourself quite far. So I call it the fling. It's kind of one of those things that I don't know if anyone playing the game has really discovered it, but it's definitely something we left in there. Well, it's in there on purpose. It wasn't designed to be this way initially, but once I discovered it was in there, I decided to leave it in there because I think it's cool, and movement tech it has the same kind of a feel as like the long jump in Super Mario 64, where you do the duck and then jump, but that's not how we implemented it. Or it's just you dash, you jump, and then you let go of your, like when you're accelerating, you want to, so it takes a bit of timing, and then you can let go of the dash button and keep your momentum. There's an achievement here, and I find it particularly difficult to get. I've unlocked it, but it was kind of hard in testing to line up the zombies with that car, because I always end up kicking the bean off to the side. So the other thing about hard mode is all of your coffee, all of your stamina has to be managed through the espressos instead of the cups, because basically we turned off as many of those cups as possible, at least the to-go cups. So it's kind of balanced around maintaining your caffeine through collecting espressos rather than picking up the to-go coffees. The to-go coffees in a way are a checkpoint. That's another thing, is we had talked quite a bit about checkpoints, and I resisted them pretty heavily just because the coffees that you pick up they're almost like an extra life, or like a mobile checkpoint, because you do get to carry them around with you. So to that end, I just I think too, the levels are short enough that you can just get through them, and if you're struggling, you can always play on John mode, which, you know, I was very generous with the amount of coffees that I gave. It's supposed to be pretty easy to get through, so the game itself is just inherently challenging, but the best way that we could make it easier without ruining the actual challenge of the game was to just add in more of those to-go coffees, which really can ease the difficulty without completely destroying the challenge of the game. Because I mean, it is centered around your skill at maneuvering through the levels. So we can't really take out that, and we can't remove too many of the zombies, otherwise there's nothing really like pushing you, and it really does become a walking sim. Which, you know, some people might like, but I feel like the core of the game really is focused around being chased, and if you don't have anything chasing you, the design of it really loses focus. And in that way, the hard mode is a distillation of the focus of the design of the game. Like, it really forces you to to use all of the systems, everything at your disposal. Flying duck slap. And once you kind of understand how the game works, you can really just kind of like do the... Oh, cool. I triggered a strange camera. Well, maybe Devin changed this, actually. I don't know. This is a little bit early to be using this coffee. I wasn't really super focused on playing optimally, but I know that, you know, I'm okay. I have pretty much full coffee. This area is like... It's much more stressful than it is dangerous. Like, you can't stop here. And that's the key thing, but we gave you quite a few obstacles to, and you should have a couple beans by the time that you get in here. But there's lots of barriers to the zombies, so despite the fact, these are actually special zombies, by the way. They have an increased movement speed. They are, we call them aggro zombies. Initially, what would happen is in the sewer segment, the zombies would end up being off screen quite a bit, and it didn't really feel like you were getting pressured that much. And otherwise, this is pretty much just I mean, it's essentially a straight path. It's a tube with some turns in it and some stuff, like, you know, the like puddles of gas that are down here. But it's not, without the aggro zombies, this area is kind of boring. So as a result of that, we really cranked it up, and it's, I think it's become pretty memorable for just how intense people perceive it as being, I guess. So, I don't know. I think it's one of those things where it feels much more dangerous than it probably actually is. But I think that's a lot of aspects of this game. If you're able to just kind of stay calm, and you realize that the zombies are dangerous, but like, you have tools to manage them. Fun fact. Ooh, yeah, you can just slap that guy down, by the way. So you don't... If you're getting run down by that guy without a bean, you can still manage him. But you have to be... you actually have to time your attack a little bit. This area, we fixed some of the cameras in there, so it should be much more manageable. That area off to the side used to have a secret. It's not there anymore. But it's time to use that. But we cut it out, and the cameras that were in there, the colliders were kind of janky, so we just removed that. And it should be much more forgiving, so that you don't get whipped around by the camera, which the camera system is triggered by a bunch of colliders, and if they're too close together, it causes that whip your hair back and forth kind of a situation, which we're trying to avoid, but we need them to trigger reliably. So, and you can't always see where all the triggers are because they just look like a green wireframe. So managing that is a little bit of a challenge. We're still getting it refined. So even in this area, you know, that's, if you... Interesting. I think that has a little bit of a jump boost to it that it probably shouldn't have. I'll have to go and check that. That boulder that fell off at the end is one of my favorite jump scares in the game. If you're playing on anything other than hard mode, you should be able to see the you should have a coffee right before then, and it's likely that you you always get hit by the boulder. Well, we put the coffees there, the two invisibility coffees there, and the idea is that you get the second one, and what happens is you'll drink that one, and then as you're running up, you'll get hit by it, and it won't kill you, but you'll feel like, oh no, like that could have killed me, even though there's relatively low risk to it. Oh, I'm actually going to change the costume because as much as it is funny to talk about, I was talking about how the secret to hard mode is playing with the Iron Man costume on, so that you can like embody your inner Terminator. This is not my favorite costume, and the aesthetics of this game are actually, you know, a pretty key point. So what was I on level 3? This is my favorite costume, and fortunately it's pretty easy to find the pieces for this one. It's my favorite costume in my favorite level, level 8, and level 8 is a bit of a, it's more of a marathon because it's quite long, but it is one of the cooler levels. So this level, I'll just, I guess, give a little bit of a rundown on my thoughts and like on the levels as we go through them. So this one was very difficult to get to where it is. Originally it had a lot of like wide open space, like just huge open areas, and it was like really difficult to figure out what to put in here, and we had to like come up with like a bunch of set pieces to really like flesh it out. You can't really tell, but this thing here in the middle, it's like the top level is a duck pond, where they we're like, oh, it's like Capi Luau, where they feed the cervets coffee beans, or like the berry, I guess, that the coffee beans in, and then they poop it out. And then there's like a level with like water in it underneath, and then there's like a drying layer to it, and then under like the fire level, or fire floor, I guess. And then underneath that is the grinder, the big grinder that you can shove the zombies into. And then underneath that is this layer, the ground floor, where I normally dodge that thing, but I was a little bit distracted. So the bottom layer is like where the coffee is, the coffee bar is, with all the what do you call it? The like dispensers, I guess. So this is one of my favorite areas, just the little hallway of death, I guess. So I don't know if you heard when I was talking about the mechanics, but how the jump works is it's based off of your movement, like when you jump. So if you accelerate and jump, you can keep your airspeed, right? And you can do like a fling, and you don't really run out of, you don't use up that much caffeine when you do it. And that movement tech, so it's boost, jump, let go of jump, or sorry, let go of boost. So boost, jump, let go of boost, and that can really fling you forward, like kind of it's similar to the long jump in Super Mario 64. And then I wonder if if Devin added the collider onto this thing. So up here is importantly a coffee. Oh yeah, sweet. He added that collider, so we're in business now. You shouldn't fall through that thing. We're in the Moonducks Historical Museum right now, and they're planning on going to the moon Potentially a future level idea. I don't know. But you can trigger that moon to like crush some zombies. This area got completely revamped. We used to have kind of a stealth element to the game that we cut, where there would be patroller zombies that had like a cone of vision, and if they saw you, if you got into their cone of vision, it would trigger more zombies to spawn, and any passive zombies, like the ones that just stand around, would like chase after you for a while. But we just couldn't really make it feel good with the rest of the game, and ultimately, oh hey, I can get back here. I can jump on that. Okay, we're out. So as a result, adding a stealth element into your platformer game turns out usually kind of rough. So we cut it. And that's level 3. Well, I mean, I guess there's like this end part. But hey, I didn't fall through the surface of the pile of beans this time. Very nice. But yeah, you can there's some areas where those stationary zombies were originally placed there as like a connected to the patrol zombies that would like get them to chase you, but we cut that guy, so now they just are passive zombies. It was kind of a cool moment when it happened, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh hey, you know, like everything's cool, and then all of a sudden they start collapsing in on you, and it's like, you know, can get pretty hairy for a while, and then you have to run away. But on to level 4. I always think of this as level 3. Somehow level 2 just like gets erased from my mind. It kind of, to me, level 1 and level 2 were done at the same time, or like they were worked in tandem for so long that I just kind of combined them mentally. So even if you don't do the fling here, you can kind of like keep your coffee up just by collecting those espressos. Like this mode really rewards more good control over your character, and also like knowledge of like the level layout. And it's like the more that you can just fling yourself where you want to go and like manage the enemies and stuff, the easier that this mode becomes, and you can start to just kind of like breeze through it a little bit. Like I don't know, I have like 900 hours in this game throughout all of the development and playtesting and all that fun stuff. I am not going to do the fun skip, which you can still do, but it's a little bit more difficult, because I would like to show off the level. So this level really, one of our level designers who worked for us for kind of a short period of time, named Nat, really filled out this level. I was quite worried about what we were going to do to fill out a bunch of this area, and Nat really spruced it up with like these conveyor belts and stuff. A lot of cool ideas. Nat came up with the big segment with the like I call it the trash disposal segment. The camera's like flipped around here. That's okay. There's a trigger. Should be a camera trigger over here. Okay, well, I guess we keep going. No. Okay, well, even I am not impervious to the camera. But yeah, like our original kind of like concept was like, oh, what if we had like a haunted, abandoned warehouse type of area? And that's kind of what the original core idea was. And then Devin was like, yeah, and what if we had like a rave at the end? And the rave is one of my favorite areas now, so I'm glad that that got added in. I wasn't sure how it was gonna flow in from the abandoned haunted warehouse theme to the rave, but it worked out pretty well, I think. Get out of here. No, 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 no. Do not redeem, sir. Yeah, so all these pallets, or like all those, what do you call them? Scaffolding, have climb colliders on them. And because we made that into a prefab, just kind of all of them have that. Should probably not skip any coffees right now. I think there's a to-go coffee coming up, but like areas like this are pretty much just to top you up anyways. So again, not very many of the collectible coffees, but you can definitely keep your coffee topped up if you master some of the more, I guess, advanced movement tech, and also I should probably grab that, and also the oh, that's where it is. If you just understand like the layout of the level and kind of like, if it's a little bit of a puzzle element really in hard mode. Picking the path that you're going to go through and kind of knowing ahead of time like what the level layouts are. Oh, I hit that climb collider. Hell yeah. There we go. Yeah, this area was one of Nat's ideas, and it was pretty cool. So you didn't used to be able to jump as high, just like natively. In this area, you could not jump onto these boxes, but now you can, and that makes the game a lot easier. Like, this was like a hard skill check of can you just like get through there without getting pushed into that grinder. But since you can jump on top of them, it just pushes you back a little bit. It's much more forgiving, and I think that's better for the game, honestly. Get killed in a cutscene, idiot. So yeah, pretty much we're at the end of the haunted warehouse segment now. These zombies for a while were not chasing you at all, so you just get here and you'd see them spaghettify in the distance, and then up until pretty recently, now they actually follow you. Ooh. Got caught up on the terrain a little bit there. Now we get my second favorite track in the game. This area is so, I don't know, it has like the strongest, I think, vibes of the game. It just kind of is like reflective of like, I think, a lot of the personalities involved on the team, so it's quite funny to me. Get out of here. Remember the basics of your CQC training. Go. So I have my checkpoint, my mobile checkpoint. I don't really have to worry too much about that, about getting hit here and there. And the thing is, you might be able to do a hitless run, but the game is definitely designed with the idea that you're gonna get hit sooner or later. So like, you're kind of expected to tank some hits. Which is why actually the head doesn't come off. It used to come off with one hit, and now it comes off with 3, just because people like the head quite a bit, and if you get touched once, like, it's quite brutal, where it's just like ripped off, and it's like, okay, like, you can keep the head on, but you still have to play strong enough that you can get through the level without losing the head. A note on the loading times. It's directly related to the speed of your hard drive. We did everything we could to minimize that, but even with heavy optimization, the limiting factor is always going to be your hard drive speed. So I was running this game in the past off of my HDD, like my spinning magnetic platter hard drive, where I have a bunch of storage, and it loaded quite slowly, and then I moved it over to my SSD, and now it loads in like a third of the time. I like the skip here. This is the much easier path. So we try to reward players for being observant. See, like even without the fling tech, you can just kind of keep your coffee fairly high. Like if you're getting all of the espressos and you don't run constantly, you just kind of like speed up when you need to. And even if you just do like little hops and stuff, it can just preserve your momentum. So you don't even have to do like the perfect like long jump version. This is my preferred path through this area. And then you can use this blue coffee here to get up here. And I'll give out a freebie as for the secrets. And you can pick up a costume piece here. I noticed that like a couple of the people that I was watching stream couldn't figure out, they could hear the costume piece, but they would like run to it from the back part, and they're like really struggling to try to figure out where the piece was or how to get to it. But you can, there's also another way you can get to it if you don't go down the middle, but that's just the fastest way. And you know, we got places to be, and we've got, you know, 5 more levels after this one, so I'm gonna try to take the most expeditious route through the game. There's the runaway forklift that hits almost everybody. My boss has Mike has played through this like a ton of times, and he still gets hit by it every single time, which I find is like quite funny. And the fact that there's a coffee right there means that it's not too severe of a punishment, but it's pretty funny to me. But yeah, this area is one that makes everyone sweat for some reason, and I mean that thing will the steamroller will kill you in one hit if it gets to you, but we made it slower than it used to be. You used to have to be rocketing through there in order to avoid getting hit by it, and everyone I've watched play this so far has like insane anxiety going through that area, but I haven't seen anyone die to that yet, which is pretty funny to me. This one, we should get rid of that. I don't think that's supposed to be there. Kind of a little bit of a misplaced coffee while I was filling out some of the other areas. Hey, what's up, buddy? Ooh. See, I forgot the basics of CQC, but we're still fine. And this is like a little bit of a shorter path if you go this way. It doesn't save you that much time, but it's more funny to just see that guy smash through that barrier and then come running at you, and then everybody freaks out. It's kind of cool too. I like hearing the names that people have come up for the enemies. We call that guy the big boy, but even amongst the team, it's like I think of him as like a fixed idea from Cyber 6, which is, you know, being from Canada, was something that used to be on YTV, and there's just a kind of a enemy in that series where it's just a big Frankenstein looking guy, and that's what I associate him with. And I want to see if this is fixed. Please be fixed camera angle. Sweet. Okay. Used to have like a second cut back to that, to the, wrecking ball swinging back and forth. And it just, it took a bit of effort to figure out why. Oh, those aren't even coffees. What am I doing? Well, just went in the restricted area. So yeah, we finally, I finally figured out what was causing that. Come on, get up there. Get up there. There we go. The collider on that is a little, the climb collider is a little finicky for some reason. So, there we go. Level 5 complete. There are different paths that you can still take through the levels, but I've played this game so much, I definitely have strong preferences on where I like to go, and I follow those preferences quite heavily. Onwards to level 6, though. This level was kind of hell to develop. We had to put in a lot of work. The moving platforms that transport you through the level, aka the trains, are a nightmare to develop. I had to even come up with like a little bit of extra like tech to be able to like make the player move with them. Initially we made the entire level move, but that caused all kinds of other problems, and in the end moving the trains is just the way to do it for our game, at least. And here we have the nearly cut spewer zombie. My boss was convinced that that guy didn't do anything, and he wanted us to cut him, or like cut the zombie. And Devin and I love that guy. Devin knocked it out of the park with his like design. I think he's supposed to be like kind of gross and like kind of intimidating, and I think he definitely created a gross and intimidating enemy. What it actually does is it doesn't do any damage to you. It will slow you though. So you move slower and you run slower while under the effects of the spewer zombie. Oh, I think I overused my caffeine here. Get out of here. See, even with just like a little bit, we can make it. If I can get through this like gauntlet. Ugh. Yeah, and we're back to full. That was one of the coffees that I had to leave turned on because I don't think that you can actually complete the game or complete this level if that coffee's not there. So very much hard mode is like you're stripped down to the bare minimum coffees, except oh yeah, this is my favorite costume. Unfortunately though, in this level, because there are so many different segments that are all independent, the coffees have to move with trains and stuff, so we can't we couldn't just have one object with all of the coffees in it. As a result, I think some of them aren't toggling on hard mode, so this level more than, see, I got slowed there. This level more than any other, even in hard mode, has like extra pickup coffees in it. So I'm going to go back at some point and make sure that it's sufficiently difficult, but for the time being, there's a little bit of a, you can have a little bit of a freebie going through this. Well, the second half of this level, or like the middle like third, I guess. Just because, see, these like extra pickup coffees are here. Like, that is not in the spirit of hard mode. What's up? That train will kill you if you get run over it. If you get run over by it. So a lot of this stuff is scripted so that if you're doing like a sensible thing, you're gonna be okay. But if you just ignore it, it really will kill you. Like, it's not fake danger. We tried to avoid the fake danger as much as possible and just do the actual, like, yep. If you think that that should kill you, it probably will if you just let it. And then there's a extra collectible coffee here. Yeah, exactly. Truly, a real train really will really will kill you if it runs you over. Oh, you got level 1 and 2, Nick? Yeah, I did a test stream yesterday and did not have it set to save the VOD. Which this is a little bit... I'm kind of doing this to demonstrate mostly that it is possible and that you can do it. You know, if you understand the systems in the game, you should be able to do it. Might take a bit of practice, but it's like I have tested it to make sure that you can get through the game on hard mode. So there's one area in here that people will see coming back, and it's not supposed to be... Well, the camera will fight you tooth and nail if you try to climb up there on your way back. Ooh. This coffee bean is not supposed to be there in hard mode. So you loop around here, and this activates the train to go to the next terminal. I don't think that's how real trains work, but at the same time, we needed something for you to do to cause you to progress to the next station. There was a collectible coffee there in easy mode, or in the easier modes, but not on hard mode. A funny thing about Joe is he's supposed... Like, the character design was supposed to look a bit like David Lynch, but I think it's like a combination of David Lynch and our 3D artist Devin. There's definitely like some... It's a good fusion of the two, and the way that Joe stares at you unblinkingly. That's how we all felt by the time that in this last week or so as we were getting ready to launch. So it's very fitting with the spirit of the game. What a charming lad. I love how he drinks coffee too. Yep, done. 100% drank. Just kind of slams it into his face and calls it good. So we have the classic end of level. Distract the zombies. And get in. Yeah, there's a few areas where you can see his face pretty well. And I think it's... every time you can like just see him staring like dead-eyed at the camera is really funny. So yeah, level 6. I'm happy that it works most of the time if you don't go off the intended path too much. It is truly hellish to get the camera to work in that level, so we're still working on adjustments to it. And onwards to level 7, Moonduck's HQ. This level is very cool and has a few homages to other games that I like. Specifically towards the end of the game. So there's a part of Castlevania 64 where you first get into Dracula's mansion, where there's like a split staircase. And there's something about that level, or like that part of the game that just like has stuck with me throughout all the years. And like, I'm reading chat. Yeah, this game is not forgiving for reading chat, which is Well, paid the price. All right. Yeah, that's true. Finding where you should walk and when you should use the coffees is really key to this mode. Level 7 I usually die a couple times on. Usually at least once. Like this area, if you just kind of mess up there, these guys will just pile on and like take you out pretty quick. So there's like, this area is another one of them, but you can kind of just juke them. Being able, like, the whole game is designed with like, instead of using a weapon to take out a zombie, for instance, it's more funny if you like instead like run across a street and then like the zombie gets hit by a car, you know, like you're not the one who's like using the car to hit them, but like you're the one who's like luring them into the street where they get hit by the car. So it's kind of you know, like the level itself is equally hazardous to both you and the enemies, but you being the player have a little bit more agency, and you can use your like maneuverability, your like agility as a weapon. And that was one of the core ideas behind this game, and I think we did a pretty good job with it. Another thing is like the stamina health bar being combined was kind of and it depletes as you use it, was kind of inspired by Legacy of Kain, where in both Legacy of Kain and Soul Reaver you are constantly losing your life, and you have to constantly be defeating enemies and like feeding on them in order to refill your life. And it's kind of a similar idea, but because you can't take out enemies directly, instead you have to like be using your agility to refill your life. And this is the best way that I could figure out to like make that theme work within like the scope of this game. Yo. So yeah, this area is actually looped. We someone commented on this about how, or a few people have commented on this about how the levels tend to like loop back on themselves, and you get to see things change. Part of it is so that you can see the change that's occurring. So like you're running through the area and you're watching it like get destroyed as you go. But also it's a bit of a it's being frugal so that we don't have to make like 2 or 3 times as many assets. And there's something about like seeing the area get destroyed. Oh yeah, this is kind of the area I was talking about with like the split staircase. We use this again a little bit later on, but I think it has like really strong aesthetic vibes. I really like that. But yeah, so reusing the level by looping across it means we have to make less stuff, and we can pack more stuff into the areas where you are, and coming back to areas kind of like it creates a sense of like you can see things change, so it's not just like constantly running through, oh, new area. So it kind of accomplishes a few things that we wanted to do, and I think for the most part we got it to work out pretty well. This area is kind of honestly a little bit of a breather, an interlude. If zombies were chasing you super aggressively down here, you don't really have anywhere to move, but it just kind of is like a little bit of a mental reset, and it's kind of like a nice thematic area, so you can tell like how high up you are. So I think that's just kind of cool. It sets up for the helicopter cutscene too. And then we get to see the return of the helicopter. Initially the camera didn't aim up here, and nobody could figure out where to go. And then we had to adjust that accordingly. Onto the the Mission Impossible laser grid, or the Resident Evil laser grid. So this last one, if you're running down the middle, is designed that way so that you don't get killed by it. People tend to stay in the middle, even if they aren't 100%. Like, even if they don't 100%, it's pretty reliable that by the time that you get there, if you are in the middle... Oh, get out of here. That's why we hold on to that coffee, so we don't die at the end. Boom. Moonduck's HQ complete. So this next level is actually far and away my favorite level. I love the amount of like camp horror references we fit into it. I think the level design is kind of like the most interesting. It does tend to confuse people when they're coming out from like the second. So it's like a figure eight. This area is like a figure eight almost, where whichever way you go, it loops back to where we just were. And then the second part is there's the left part and the right part, and they both loop back into the sludge pit and then into the main prison courtyard. And I don't know if anyone's picked up on it, but that is a prison that they have in the middle. My buddy just messaged me. If you're still in the chat, probably about if you head over like 520 or so, it's probably fine. We have something else that we're gonna go do. If you're not in the chat, I'm gonna message him back after I'm done this. So see, with just good movement and like executing a little bit of tech and using our CQC basics, we can just handle that no problem. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, so apparently he can hear me, so. But yeah, so these areas loop back into the entrance area. So this is like a cold storage area where they have like test subjects that they're freezing, and they have like, you know, the people in the pods for experiments and stuff. Very, very camp horror. I don't know, I love it. It's kind of goofy, but like this whole game is goofy. It's designed to be stressful to play, but like if you're watching it, it's supposed to mostly be funny. So in here you can see these two red lights. You have to do one thing on this side and one thing on this side, and when you come back, you will loop back from over here. I'm pretty sure I can get a coffee over here, so oh no, okay, we're still good. So when in doubt, you can see where the red light is. Head towards the side with the red light, because that's the side you need to activate a interaction in. So that's one of the costume pieces for the costume I'm wearing right now. Since I'm trying to explain stuff, I'm not really hard mode isn't really designed with the intention of like you're getting the costume pieces as you're doing hard mode. It's a lot more like you've played the game and you understand the level and you just want to see what it's actually like to play this game, you know, with like the maximum challenge to really kind of get out of here, to really kind of feel what the game is like, you know, if everything's dialed up. So even though it looks a little dire, I know that I have I have a bunch of these espressos here. So that guy just transformed actually. It's not really easy to see because it tends to happen off screen, but these zombies, if they're exposed to the pumpkin spice sludge, transform into these big boys. And that's why there's so many of them over here. Jeez. Yeah, get up there. I'm so close. I don't remember if there's a coffee nearby though. Oh, I see one. I'm gonna go pick that up. Here. No. I'm just gonna restart. It's gonna be easier. Alrighty. So this is one of the later levels, like level 7 onwards. A lot of the time, it will take me at least a couple attempts to get through, but doesn't talking about random stuff or talking about like different design notes and you know, what kind of went into this game while doing this definitely can lead me to make more mistakes. And I was just showing where you like running off into the wild blue yonder to show kind of like where you come out from, and burning extra coffee, so it doesn't especially help me. And you have that bean in this right there specifically for this, and everyone activates both of these, but you only have to activate one. It's just so that if you come from either side, you can activate the switch, because you have to activate 2 parts in order to open that door. You can also just jump off that bridge there and then skip a little bit of the level, which, you know, I'm actually kind of all about the skips. I think it's really cool, some of the skips that people are finding. If anything, I just want to make the camera transitions a little smoother so that if you do figure out a cool skip, that it's not so punishing. Might not make it like super easy, but I do like that they are there, and it is cool to see people discover them, even when I'm not aware of them. So yeah, I really like to kind of hoard my coffee in this segment, and then we get this one. Yeah, I'll go this way again. Just kind of hop and skip through here. There's a trap here too that I should have used last time, and it would be helpful if it was a little bit brighter, but I think it has something to do with the lighting, but that isn't interactable there. And we just hop our way over here. So the zombies actually can't get into this room, which is why they kind of stop there. Which was the easiest way to deal with that whole situation, so that you're not dying in the cutscene. Or a lot of the times, so if it's a true cutscene, you won't be able to move, but a lot of them you can move around in. And some of them you are actually frozen in place. It's actually a little bit safer to go up here because it spawns less zombies and then less of those big boys show up, and then you can just... There's the other costume beasts. You can also just kind of like get into here, and it's... there's a coffee to reward you for going the more difficult path, which I failed at last time. Normally there's a coffee in this little console area, like this little control area, so you can, like right about here, but in hard mode you actually have to get through the challenge. So you can see the red light, you want to go towards the red light. The camera is going to aggressively push you in the direction that you should go. No jump coffee here. Zombies can't follow you onto here because of limitations with the nav mesh. So they just fall once they hit the thing. So you can't really stop, but you have a little bit of a breather. It's kind of like a reset in terms of like zombie spawns and positioning. It's like each level's kind of designed around like a short run, like a segment. And then it kind of like will reset like the zombies. And that helps us free up resources, and it also helps us to make sure that we have zombies in the pool to spawn in front of you. Something changes during that cutscene, like the geometry changes, so you end up standing in that thing. It's something that we have to look into, actually. Oh, get in there. So that's being punished for not jumping over something. And this is also why I held on to my coffee. Those colliders in particular are quite high. Those damage colliders. So this area is actually easier if I just go down here. And we loop back out and into this segment. And I left the charged coffee, or the knockdown coffee, in here because this segment is surprisingly difficult if it's not there. These guys will wreck you. Like, even with the beans, they are close enough that when they stop getting distracted, they'll still come for you. So can be pretty intense. And there's also there's also a trap there, which I got taken out by my own trap. But that is pretty much the end of the level. I'll just power through it. I'll go through this side first. Just this level has like the most amount of variance in terms of like how you can tackle the different segments of it. So it is kind of worth just showing off what it looks like from both directions. This room looks much better from this side than from the other side, I think. But it's one of the funnier, more interesting rooms, I think. I quite like it. Get out of here. Just hop over here. And we made it to our checkpoint. Yeah, imagine dying with a full coffee in your hand right at the end of it. And there is a kill collider under there, so if you just let those fall, you will die. Because otherwise you're just in another part of the level. I haven't quite made up my mind on which way is easier to go, but I think actually going through this segment first is the easier path. You can also jump down. There is a skip where you can jump into the processing area from there. So I think that leads it to be, if you want to get through it as quickly as possible, probably the way to do it. I'll go through the surgery ward / exposure first. What else? Yeah, I don't know. This level just has like so many kind of fun set pieces. Seeing this guy. This would have been the only thing that the only time that guy made it into the game if we didn't pull a bit of an extended work session like last week. But I think the way that the what do you call him? The spewer turned out in his final form, he's pretty good. So yeah, I think that this actually gets shifted over during the activation sequence, and that's why Joe ends up. Oh, that time he wasn't in there. Interesting. This is one of my boss's favorite scenes. He just loves the zombies smashing out of there. Yeah, so this is an area where you really kind of have to have a coffee to be able to tank through that, which again I think is just fine. And so the camera will now push me aggressively this way. That is a little bit janky, but I think you're passing through like 3 of the camera colliders if you do a big jump there, which a lot of people do. Also, it's probably would be beneficial to have the camera go a little bit closer to there to help people to understand where we want them to go. But again, there's been so much stuff to get ready for launch, like more pressing issues, that it's like, well, it at least kind of works, which is a lot better than some of the stuff that was going on with it. Oh, I'm gonna win. I've got it this time, I think. So if you do the accelerating jump into a slope surface, it kind of is maintaining your momentum, and you kind of do like it's like a reverse bunny hop, and so like, and you can just kind of like scoot along. I think that's kind of a neat and fun little mechanic. It really just adds a lot, I think. Okay. Huh. I did not know that you could not go there. Alright. For serious this time. We're just gonna power through. This isn't even the most difficult level, really. I think maybe level 9 probably is, but level 8 has the most amount of stuff that can just be a gotcha, I think, which it's not really it's just the length of it, and then the number of the sequence, like the number of sequences in it can really like add up, and you can't really make any too big of a mistake. And like, you can make a few mistakes, but it's just like a marathon, you know. And if you kind of make too many mistakes, they can add up really quickly. Yeah, I'm a little bit on autopilot when playing this game, but there are certain areas where it does require a bit of focus, but it's usually for like 2 or 3 seconds, and then I just go back to kind of like autopiloting through the level. Again, when you have almost, well, so I have like 900 hours in the full game app, and then I have like 400 or 500 in both the playtest app and the demo app. So it's somewhere around like 14 or 1500 hours in this game total, I would guess, which you know, it's a good thing that this game, I like it a lot now. There were many periods where it didn't have all of the pieces in. We initially didn't have the espressos in, and that really was creating some challenges. And then it's like, okay, well, what if we made something like coins to help direct the player? And then it's like, oh, what if it's just like a little coffee that can just refill some of your health, but not that much. Originally it was like about a fifth of your, or not a fifth, it was a tenth of your health, and now it refills a fifth of your health when you get an espresso. So they're much stronger than they used to be. And the same with the all of the special coffees, their effect was like way shorter. We extended those out, and then we also cranked the stats on them. So like the jump coffee makes you, it used to make you jump about as high as you jump now, back when Joe didn't jump, like was like not a particularly athletic individual. And then he got completely over that. And then we increased the effects of everything to make it so that now when you are doing the jump, using the jump coffee, like you fly, which I think is, it was the right choice in the end. Alrighty, onwards to processing. See, the camera is like most of the time, it's really trying to push you in the right direction. Like it's not, if you're running directly into the camera, usually it means that either something's wrong and you've somehow managed, the trick. Oh, jeez. Level 8. Out for vengeance. Part of it is being distracted while playing, talking about stuff, but I don't particularly mind if I'm going to have to redo this level. If I'm going to redo a level, I'd rather it be this level. This is like the one that I think is like the most fun to just run around in. And every time there, it's like it was my fault from like I had a coffee in my hand, and yeah, I don't have a coffee in my hand this time. Also because you're not able to just like put your foot, like hammer on the gas in this level in hard mode, you have to deal with a lot more of the big boy zombies. Because the normal zombies are transforming into big boy zombies as you're going, and if you just rush past them, you don't really have to deal with them. You'll run out of range and despawn them before they're really a threat. But because you have to kind of go a little bit slower, they're less of a problem in this mode. Or sorry, in the easier modes, they're less of a problem. In hard mode, they are an actual threat. A little cutscene prevents you from running immediately backwards, which sometimes people would do, and that was kind of a problem. I think the way is probably to go here first, because then you can grab that coffee more easily in the sludge pit. The pumpkin spice pit of doom. So I think that will help. Again, there's almost like a puzzle element to hard mode, where it's like you're rewarded for thinking about how you want to go through the level and like planning it out. The normal mode, like normal mode and John mode really just lets you kind of do whatever you want. It's kind of like, hey, you know, like this is as easy as we can make it without it being a literal walking simulator. And then normal mode is kind of like, as long as you're kind of sticking to the main path and trying to get through the level, you should be fine. Hard mode is like, you should have a game plan going into it. It's very much for like playing, once you've played through the game, you can get a nice, you can really kind of like experience, you know, the get a feel for like what it's like when you have to like, when you really have to like use all of the systems to get through. And it definitely rewards like knowledge of the level layout, and kind of like it really isn't in the intended gameplay mode for like someone who's brand new and like doesn't know anything about the levels. There is kind of the assumption that you actually want more of a challenge. You've played through the game and you're like, okay, well that was cool, but like, you know, whoa. Okay, well, level 8 yet again. I'm gonna do the skip though, just because I've gone through quite a few times. This is oftentimes what it feels like when you play testing, except it used to be that 10 different things would just constantly break, and I would have to go back and then change them, and then play through again and make sure that they didn't break the next time. I think the reason that sometimes you can fall through the floor is that the collider isn't super thick. And, oh, this is where the... Oh, did Devin change it? Yep, Devin changed it. Okay, well, we're not going to do that skip then. We're going to have to do a different skip. Yeah. Go. Yeah. Get out of here. Yeah. Here. 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 Come on. Okay. We're gonna go this way. Yeah. So I just cut out one half of that starting loop, but we should be good to go now. Get back to where we were more efficiently. I guess I have less coffee. Well, so there is that. Ooh. That's why the duck slap exists. Without it, the game would be very, very unplayable, I think. And also, just the fact that you can slap these guys down is incredibly funny to me. Heal. 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 Oh boy. One false move, eh? See, I play another game. I was playing a different game earlier today, and all of my skill at Strange Brew has evaporated. But I think we're in a pretty good spot for now. Just need to get through surgery, which I would argue is, well, actually jumping down here makes life a lot harder, but I think we're back in it. Just need to survive to get to the next full coffee, and then we can call it a day. Although there are quite a few of the big guys that pop out in here, or like the transforming. Yeah, see, he just got mutated. Those guys are a menace, and then they just charge you down. So in the game, in the game code, their AI is called Charger Zombie, but we kind of call them big boys, or a lot of the time, I think. Get out of here. Ooh. Just want to keep my coffee as high as possible through this area to survive up here. Okay, I think I'm good. It's actually preferable to go down here to me. And I think we're good. Yeah, as long as I don't do anything goofy and forget that I have, and not drink the coffee that I'm holding in my hand. Should be okay. And the frustrating thing is that I know that there's a coffee like not too far after that point. Whoa. Whoa. Boom. Which big boy by the stairs? Get spaghettified. before the button. That may have been a transforming, zombie. I don't remember. Things have gotten shuffled around, so it's well possible. So this level, I made much more difficult towards the end, and this level is also kind of like level 8 and 9 are kind of my babies. This is like the one that like is the final skill check of the game. You know, like level 10, all three modes are the same in terms of difficulty. Get up there. Yeah. So minor change to this one. There's no coffee down the middle, but if you go up there, you can get this one, which basically any coffee that you can hold on to in this. Oh yeah. Well, so fun fact, Mike was like he was playing through the game quite a bit on debug mode, which is like invincibility, and he was convinced that the big charger zombies were too easy. He's like, they're not a threat. They don't do anything. And so he insisted that I continuously make them more and more aggressive. And I was like, oh, I don't know, man. Like, if you play the game on like debug mode, then everything's gonna feel like a lot easier. So anyways, like I kept making them more and more difficult, and he's like, yeah, I don't know, they don't really feel that threatening. And then we got to where we are, and I'm like, if I make them any more threatening, they are going to like be like you're not really gonna be able to manage them. Like it's not gonna be fun. So I had to, for in a rare instance, I had to tell him, no, we can't make this any harder. It's not good for the game. Like it won't make the game any more fun. So I don't know if Unchained is still here, but there is in fact a way to get through this area, and you just ignore those because they'll fall straight down, and then you just run through the area. And you just hold on to this coffee for as long as possible. And then you go through here and jump to here. And you you pull off a magic jump. Ooh. And you get to here. And you just... So there's a secret. Right? Even if I just run through here. Yeah? If you don't freak out and you stick to the right side, you won't die. There's only one of those things that actually falls off, and it's on the left side. So you have to kind of like land right on it right as it's collapsing, but that's level 9, first try. I don't know. Level 9, I think each challenge is a little bit more difficult in terms of like your platforming skill, but level 8 is a marathon. Like, each individual segment is easier, but there's so many more of them, and you have to like get through a ton of them without getting destroyed. So, well, I'm actually going to do something. No, play. So, actually, here we can do this. I want to see how this looks. Chapter 10. So all of the difficulty modes on level 10 are the same. If you can get through it, it's an epilogue. It's the victory lap level. Hell yeah. We're in black and white mode, which we recently put in. It doesn't seem to persist between levels, so I'm gonna have to look at that, but compared to everything else I just went through, this level is it's just a nice jaunt through the flooded city. I don't know if we have a special name for it. Maybe like Quacksburg. right? I don't know. Usually we just like shoot puns back and forth until we come up with something that everybody likes. The oil boy costume, like the duck without the cup on his head is like so cursed, and that's why I love it. It's so funny. Someone mentioned an idea for like a costume where his hat is like, instead of a cup, it's like a tin foil. It's tin foil. I think it was like Ashton from I don't know. I can't remember the name of the channel, but we've been, I don't know. I like watching people stream the game. I think it's really cool. It's really funny to just watch them, you know, even in like John mode or something, just do something goofy and then just get kind of destroyed. I'm a bit jaded from playing this game so much, so like if I'm not playing on hard mode, it feels kind of like I'm cheating a little bit. So I kind of almost exclusively play on hard mode at this point when I do play this game, but I think it represents a pretty substantial but fair challenge. That it, like, once you adjust to it and what it wants from you, like what the how to use the systems and kind of like how to fling yourself around the game, I think it starts to become it just all comes together, and hard mode really forces you to like figure that out, whereas the other difficulties, they're great for learning the game, for getting familiar with it, but they're not quite as they don't demand as much from you as a player. That guy is like having a day, huh? So this infamous area used to kill you in one hit. It does not kill you in one hit anymore. I don't think those flames even have damage colliders on them, but you know, psychological damage at this point. We've put you through the ringer so much that you're like, I'm not messing with it. Yay. And yeah, it's the end of the game. So yeah, level 8 was giving me a much more difficult time than level 9 this time around, even in oh yeah, you must have turned it on. But yeah, so hey, it's the team. It's the people I've worked with day in and day out for the last 5 or so years working on this game. You know, the team was the team that we assembled was, I think, the perfect fit for making this game. Everyone really brought a lot of you know, unique character and personality into the final product, and I'm quite pleased with how it turned out. I mean, we still have like further polish to do, and we're gonna add in some localization, so other languages and stuff. But yeah, that is Strange Brew. If anybody's interested in this, it's available on Steam. Strange Brew. It's on sale for the next couple weeks, I believe. 10% off, I think. And yeah, if anybody else, I'm always it's really rewarding for me as someone who worked on this game to watch other people stream it. So you know, if you do stream it, don't be surprised if I pop in and say hi, or if I send a message afterwards. I'm really grateful towards anyone who does stream it, because it's really fun to watch other people play it, and it also helps us out. So anyways, that's the end of the stream. Full hard run CQC remembered playthrough. Bye.